Hey, what's up, pro wrestling fans? Welcome to the Nation's Corner. I am Front Row. I am back, and I'm surrounded by some craziness. We've got John in South Jersey. We've got Debhausen. We've got Mongrovian Mike. And joining us, Hijacker Mike. What's up, peoples?
What's
Full
up?
house. It's a full house on the Saturday.
What's up? Elder, Elder, you're
He's on mute.
Of course he is. Why wouldn't he be?
Well,
I didn't say anything yet anyway, so it's all right.
Well, you can stay on. No,
I guess
No,
we'll just have to mute you on purpose tonight. We'll just have to mute you on purpose.
Okay, man, what a week. Holy shit, we got a lot to talk about. It seems like every night there was something going on, and I was like, that's my new favorite show of the week. And then something else would have to go, okay, that's my pick of the week.
Yeah.
So, let's just dispense with all the foolishness and go right to the Wyatt 6. Oh my God. So you all know that we watch this stuff live together as a group. And we've been so we've been so like immersed in all the QR codes, and like we've been following along. We've been scanning this stuff bit by bit and going like frame by frame and figuring it all out. So Monday night, the debut happens, and we're all sitting there going, what the hell did we just see?
we saw murder.
So, we did see murder. We think it was murder. I think you're right. So I want to know from you guys, like, what do you guys think? Like, what was your first impression when we saw this?
Okay, I'll go first. Ladies first. So I think most of us were sitting there on our Zoom screens just going,
Yeah.
like the whole time. and then immediately I was like, what the just happened? And when is Sam Roberts going live? That was my thoughts. That was my thoughts.
Just to answer your question, we get 2 emergency pods this week.
Yes.
Everything counts, especially with Sam when we get 2 emergency pods in a week. And yes, make it way less attractive, but Deb's face was basically mine as well. And what in the F did I just watch? I have to watch this again and again. And I am up to 5 times now that I have watched that entrance.
I think at work on Tuesday, I probably watched that clip like 5 or 6 times at work.
Yeah, it's insane, and everybody that knows me knows how big of a Wyatt family person I was when it was the Wyatts. Then when he morphed into the Fiend, unfortunately, we lost him last year, and this is going to continue his story. And I had to watch it. I think I watched that 7 times on Monday night before I finally realized I think we're going to see more of Bray Wyatt's mind with this Wyatt 6 than we did with him alive. That was insane. And I went through, I couldn't count how many people I could recognize. I just know Chad Gable, and someone told me Braun Strowman was in there, but I have a feeling he's going to be coming back to this somewhere down the line.
Yeah, so I want Mike's thoughts on this, but just Hijacker, we actually went last night. We were on very late. There might have been a lot of alcohol, but we went frame by frame and tried to figure out who those people were, lining up like tattoos and hairstyles and like facial profiles.
Yes.
We determined it was not Braun Strowman.
No.
We determined it was not any of the main roster people. It was probably extras, but it was definitely Chad Gable. So go ahead, Mike.
Now, who is the guy? Who is the guy in the fancy tie that it looks like Dexter Loomis caved in the whole back of his skull? I mean, the amount of blood on the wall behind him was like it was amazing. So he's the guy with the fancy tie. He's got the cornrows. He's got a leather vest. The only one that stood out was the rest of them were just security. The rest of them were all in the black pants and the black T-shirts, and the black shirts. You know, they were just extras laying around. It seemed, just unfortunate victims. But R.I.P. to Chad Gable. I just want to say on that storyline, I know it's hit and miss when you try and get kind of a horror storyline. Am I right, Hijacker? You're you're a horror buff like I am too, and
Yes, sir.
that scene got me. That wasn't like after I don't even want to say it. The zombies with Miz, that made me wanna kick my TV screen in, and that was disgusting. And right up there with the cheesy little Tony Khan sized Leatherface running around with his fake
why you gotta remind us of that?
I'm sorry, that's the shit that that's usually what happens with me because I'm such a horror. But you know how when you have a lovely EMT in the family and they see something going on in the ring and they call all the bullshit on those phony EMTs. Why they moving? Someone, they broke his neck, and then they're flopping the guy around. Hey, he broke his neck. Let's pick him up over here.
Every time. Quick shout out to, of course, the Nation's Corner Crew's in-house resident medical advisor, my dear sweet daughter Brooke, who is a nationally registered paramedic working down in Florida, and literally anytime that they do anything with, they have to pick a wrestler up, they get jumped, attacked, the EMS comes in and every time I get at least a 6 or 7 text dissertation on everything they did wrong and why she hates it.
I can confirm that because whenever something like that happens, John always says, and 5, 4, 3, 10, boom.
And there she on cue. There she is. Finally, she got it right. What's up, kiddo?
That was, that had me. I mean, I watched it. I just watched it a little while ago. I watched that, and I watched the Jacob Fatu, and I watched the other Drew and CM Punk. I mean, those 3 stories that we could talk for about 4 hours on those.
Yeah, so I want to get to all that, but Hijacker, you said earlier, and I know you've talked about it, publicly, that you had spent some time with Bray, so you have maybe more of a personal connection to him than we do. I guess going into this, we were concerned, like, are they going to do his legacy right? Are they going to make it hokey? Like, what's this going to look like? And our hope was with Triple H and with Taylor, with Bo Dallas, with Uncle Howdy, with all those people, the production people. We were hoping that it was going to be done well. So, like, when you saw it the first time, how were you feeling in that respect?
You're talking about the ending of Raw, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Did it meet the hype?
Oh, it exceeded the hype. I had the hair on the back of my neck because I don't have any on the head, as y'all know. It made it stand up. I got chills, and like I said, I replayed that segment on YouTube TV several times after it happened, and I feel now with Triple H in charge, he's going to give Bo Dallas the okay to give Bray's mind, because I know those two were very close, and I think Bo's mindset is very similar to Bray's, and he knows his ideas. He talked to him. He wanted to bring him in years ago, but WWE didn't want to. But I'm just proud of this moment that they're going to continue his legacy. I don't know if he's going to be member number 6 spiritually, or maybe it's going to be Alexa Bliss. Maybe it be Braun Strowman. We don't know at this point, and that's the beauty of this story that we're going to get, and we'll be able to watch unfold over the coming weeks and months. Now, my only thing is don't allow what happened last Monday night to fade. You got to keep this strong. You got to keep it going. You don't want to tweak it to where all of a sudden everybody loses interest in 3 months because you made them weak. If they're going to fight, let them get disqualifications. Don't let them lose off top. Let them get disqualified. But they're heading in the right direction. What happened Monday night was phenomenal, and it can only go up from here with the right guidance and allowing the right people to stay in charge of this storyline.
Yeah, I don't have to see him in the ring. Not just yet.
Well, I think, yeah, I 100% agree. And so, Deb, we talked about, and I think they talked about this on Busted Open too, because in the QR codes, they did such a good job of describing the characters that he recruited and their backstory and connecting the dots, going all the way back to like Nikki Cross's NXT days, and they brought all that stuff together. So it looks like what we've seen so far is this is going to be a psychotic, violent group that is not supernatural.
Yes.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be more dark and sinister than what Bray was doing, where he left off. This seems like it's just taken a turn. And something that I thought of, I know we discussed this on Zoom the other night, that when we saw what Bray was doing when he was introducing Uncle Howdy, it was almost like an internal struggle, and Uncle Howdy was kind of the evil voice in his head almost. And I just kind of wonder if, like, the way that they're portraying the characters now, that it's almost like since Bray is gone, there's nothing to keep Uncle Howdy in check. So Uncle Howdy, the evil personality, is just let loose, and he's, there's nothing holding him back.
Yeah.
Well, quick note. If you noticed, before Bray passed away and before he left WWE TV, Uncle Howdy knocked him down, if we all remember.
Right.
So I have a feeling they're going to allow this to unfold and bloom in the direction the Fiend should have technically went, but now we're going to live through this storyline, and it's going to keep Bray with us pretty much as long as this faction runs.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the things that we talked about too is like Bray's legacy. The character of Bray Wyatt was, it was cult, it was, follow the buzzards and all that, but Bray was building a family. He was building a following. Uncle Howdy's basically like, you're either with us or we're gonna fucking kill you. Like, that's pretty much his message, right?
Yeah.
And we saw that already. So.
Right.
Yeah. I feel that Bo and Bray to some point had this storyboarded out before things went bad, and not completely though. Like they probably had these characters in mind, but not knowing who they were going to bring in for them. Obviously they wouldn't know that they were going to get Nikki Cross and everything, but all these characters seem to fall right into place with that. And we already know that once they go in the ring, I mean, like Nikki Cross, Dexter Lumis, Eric Redbeard, these guys, they're scary in the ring already. They've already done off the wall, psychotic kind of wrestling anyway. So,
and Joe Gacy,
we're gonna have
his
no
time in
problem.
NXT. Joe Gacy's time in NXT was very much in and out of like. Yeah, no, you're right about all five of them. I mean, all five of them have like. They have like a tentative grasp on reality. Really, each one of them has had dark times already before they even got here. So, I mean, Dexter Lumis got married with a hatchet in his pocket. So,
I mean, Eric Redbeard should at the end of every match after he chokes someone out, should take a freaking fake furry spider and shove it down everyone's throat.
I don't know if anybody saw the post. Someone put a post. I think it was WWE on Fox. Put out a post from Jey Uso saying he can have the
Firefly. Hey, there you go.
That too. You just reminded me of a point. If you remember, in the recent months, you've seen Seth make posts about it because the Fireflies were out for Seth. And Jey Uso also made they're my Fireflies now. They're my Yeet Flies or whatever he said.
Right. Yeah, no more. So don't want that smoke.
That might be coming back to bite those guys in the ass in the future.
Wind up like Chad Gable.
Yeah.
But how did Chad get medically cleared? How did Chad get medically cleared?
Okay, hang on. He didn't. So this is crazy, right?
Okay.
I saw Bully Ray post about this. So like WWE posted a video of Adam Pearce saying he was cleared for action, right? Even he was a tough cookie and all this other stuff. But that entire video was laced with glitches from the Wyatts. And then Adam Pearce quote tweets it and totally misspells and fucks up this entire tweet, basically telling you that the Wyatts were influential in this messaging. Like you go back and look at it, so this isn't right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh,
So,
geez.
so everybody was reacting to just what they saw in the video. But if you watch the video, there's stuff interlaced in there. There's Wyatt messaging throughout the video.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. You know, you see the glitches, you see imagery, you see a lot of that test pattern kind of old school retro graphic stuff in the whole thing. And, you know, it's one of the things you're looking at it like, well, yeah, obviously it's Adam Pearce this and that, but, you know, what in the hell is going on? And and that's just one of these things, you know, now, you know, and they said that, well, obviously, well, Chad Gable is not going to be able to complete. Well, no kidding, he's dead.
Yeah.
You know, and Ilya Dragunov is supposedly now in the qualifier match on Monday Night Raw. But, and again, you know, this was during the week this week. And then I believe that particular tweet came out, I think it was yesterday or maybe even Thursday. But here we go, that, you know, here we are a couple days removed, and they're still absolutely having us like, okay, now what the hell is going to happen? Is Chad Gable going to be there? Is he really got? If you read his Wikipedia, he had a gunshot wound to his head from Uncle Howdy, and rest in peace. You know, which was absolutely brilliant. I mean, you know, whoever did that, God bless him, because it shows just the amount of engagement and the amount of investment that fans have in this, and this anticipation that has been literally building seemingly forever now. And now that we actually have something here and tangible, it's like, yes, finally, thank you.
So you guys see I have a whole bunch of collectibles here, right? Something that's really missing is a wrestling buddy of Chad Gable laid out and bloody. I need that.
Well,
yes.
Let me ask everybody a quick one here. During that segment, should the victims on the ground been kind of moving slightly, you know, like moaning and groaning, or do you think it was perfect where it kind of looked like everybody was dead? Because now this is where we come to Chad Gable, Ilyanov, that okay, they look dead, but now they're going to be cleared and come back somewhere down the line. Should they have been kind of twitching or slowly moving around and groaning to give it that effect, or is the effect that we
dead?
I don't think so.
Dead. Everybody dies, to quote Lance Archer. Everybody dies. I
even though they'll be back in 2 weeks, right?
Sure. I mean, the messaging. They're all future world champions.
The messaging wasn't just "we're coming." The messaging was, "we're bringing a massacre." They specifically said massacre, and there was blood on the walls. Like, you don't come back from that shit. Like, you know. Now, do we think Chad Gable's going to come back? Yeah, of course. Like, he's a WWE superstar, but all the other extras, those guys are all dead. I mean, it's a shame. But, you get your $100 and you roll the dice. So
right.
You know, hey, sometimes your extra security and you get the shit beat out of you by Brock Lesnar, and then sometimes you're security and you get murdered. It happens.
It's the chance you take. I mean, you know, if they were still alive, they could say, "Hey, man, I was the change." You know, I was the guy that was laid out by Dexter Loomis. You know, you could say, "Look, they're dead, so it doesn't matter." And I just feel bad for them because their careers got cut so short. They never had the chance to become world champion. So, anyway.
I mean, thank God it wasn't in the New York, Long Island area. Otherwise, I would have lost a lot of Creator Pro friends.
Yeah,
I
know a lot of them. A lot of them moonlight as extra security guards.
Yep.
Future world champions, as we say.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So one of the things that was like, because of course this happens on Monday, and we're going, are we going to see it on NXT? We don't see it on NXT. No QR codes, no sign of them, nothing happens, right? We didn't see them on SmackDown, but we did see Pat McAfee show. We did see a hint of it on Pat McAfee show. So for those of you that maybe didn't see it, you know, Pat's doing his thing. The lights go off. You hear the shunk, and everything goes dark, and they're like, what the fuck happened? And then, you know, they eventually come back on the air. And I think there was a message, right? Correct?
Yes, you lied. Yeah, it was a
screen that said you lied.
And then they come back. So, like, okay, the Wyatts are now investigating. They're now just everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
We did do a wellness check on Sam Roberts and Pete Rosenberg because you don't know,
Right.
So
Right. Yes.
they're okay for now. We'll see.
Yeah.
But we didn't.
Yeah.
So is this going to be a Raw exclusive? Is it just going to be? We don't know what it's going to look like. Which is the greatest thing. Like we have no idea when this stuff is going to happen again. Could start the
Yeah.
show Monday. It might be social media. It might be on somebody else's show. It might be on a talk show. Someone could do the Today Show and it could happen there. Like we just don't know.
Yeah.
I like that more. I don't want them to, come on Raw and say, coming up later, the Wyatt Six. Like I don't want that.
Yeah.
We'll hear from Wacky
We'll hear
I don't want that. I just want
We'll hear from Uncle Howdy and his
surprise
wacky
us.
band of misfits.
Yeah, surprise us
Nah,
out
baby.
of nowhere when we, when we're not exactly expecting that moment to happen. And, that'll get us even more invested because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know when it's going to happen. And I think it's great.
Okay, I have to, John, we love that you're, part of all this. Bo Dallas and Cody next week. Like, isn't that rushing it just a little bit?
In a red hell in
let's give it a little bit. Let's give it. I know he's just joking, but
Well, my only comment is John Bay, your streak remains intact for weekly GFY.
No, John's an OG supporter. We love John.
No, he's a great guy, but I like this. I like records and streaks and stuff, and I want to see his intact. So yeah, and another week, so he's very happy for it. So there you go, GFY.
Oh my God.
Oh my Jesus.
The only thing in my opinion, for the Wyatt Six is they got to pop up while a match is going on in the ring. Whoever they're going to target, pop up on them. Be in the crowd like Bray used to have the characters pop up in the audience. Have them come from under the ring and pull someone under the ring. Come from downstage and attack them from behind on your way to the ring after your match. That's the only way I see this faction working solid. Nothing's ever fair to them. They're always in a surprise, popping up, and you're like, oh shit, they just went and attacked Cody from out of nowhere. That's what I want to see from this faction. Don't play by the rules. Create your own rules and let's power forward.
There were so many little things that were done well. They had on Raw throughout the entire show, they were peppered with hints. They had Uncle Howdy way in the distance in the smoke. We saw Rambling Rabbit in a locker. We saw all these little things throughout the whole episode. I saw people posting shit, and I'm like, how do we miss that? Like we're all of us are watching, we missed that.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's just so subtle.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's you guys like we've all been along for this ride, doing the QR codes, diving into every little bit of content, and like doing the frame by frame thing and figuring it all out. It was so fun this week to see people like Dave and Boley and everybody going, holy crap, I got to go back and catch up on all this content for 2.5 months. And
for real.
Andre,
where the hell you been?
Andre's been telling them for 2 months, hey, this is going to be important. You should pay attention to this. So,
yeah.
And
that's the funny thing is,
cap on.
if you're like us and you've been, kind of following everything and pouring our time into every little detail, we knew when to expect it. We knew that Monday something was happening. And it's just so funny to see like the other people who haven't been following it as closely as we have, that they were completely taken by surprise. And now they're like, holy shit, where did this come from? Like you said, I got to go back and find all these other like clues and stuff about what might happen next.
Yep. And really shout out to the people in our crew, RA and Andre and going back.
Ezra oh man, a lot of late
really
night.
pouring over and giving us a ton of stuff to just look at and you know what was crazy about it is,
no, go ahead in front row.
Just real quick, it was crazy because they did it on all 3 shows. Like you had to watch every frame of all 3 shows every week, otherwise you miss shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they tracked which episode was watched the most, I guarantee you last Monday's episode would be the most watched from beginning to end, because people will go back to look for these clues and see how the hell did I miss that? Where the hell was this? because they said, Uncle Howdy up in the shadows of the Raptors, where the fans come in, and it looked like him. You said Rambling Rabbit in the locker and stuff. There were clues, and we missed them because we were probably more focused on what was going on in the situation instead of the background.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
So much. Couple of other really big things that happened this week. The man who now has the most viewed WWE tweet of the year, over WrestleMania, over The Rock, over Roman Reigns, over all of it. Say his name, and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry made a massive appearance on NXT. I was so happy. And so was our good friend Chad.
Yes. He is absolutely a believer. And like you said, apparently all he says is you just have to believe. Well, apparently, what was it? 15 million?
A believer. He's a half an inch away from getting a order of protection.
Restraining order.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. But apparently, what was the count front row? 15 million at this point?
17.5.
Are believers as well.
It was funny because I was listening to the show.
That's how
this
many
morning,
private messages Chad sent him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Give or take. That's our estimate.
I was listening this morning, and they were talking. Denise and Mark were talking about this. And Mark was like, "Can you believe that the count of that view count was over 2 million?" And obviously, Andre messaged him. He goes, "Whoa, wait, 17 million?" He goes, "Is this right?" Yep.
Yeah.
17 million.
Yeah, I think it was at almost 2 million the following morning, something like that.
And just remember, that's after the Wyatt 6.
Yeah, exactly.
It surpassed the Wyatt 6.
It blew everything out of the water. At 11 million, it had eclipsed everything.
Yes.
That's we've been preaching about following TNA for a while, that it's something that it's a product that definitely deserves to be paid attention to. And it's kind of, for a while now, it's been one of my favorite shows of the week. I look forward to it every week more than any other show, really. And I'm very, very happy to see the attention that TNA is getting on NXT. Bringing new eyes to the product, getting to showcase these talents who, we know are talented. They just need to be put in front of more eyes. And I wish Joe Hendry had been in the match longer. I was slightly disappointed with that, but it is what it is.
Well, there was certainly, it's one of them things when you look back, there were certainly enough clues about Joe Hendry appearing, but and I know a lot of people, or I won't say a lot of people, but wrestling fans, some were down on the fact that at TNA's pay-per-view for Phil Collins last week, that Jordan Grace's quote-unquote mystery opponent was Tatum Paxley. And it was a great match between those two, but I kind of get that. But here they go right again. You had Joe Hendry, which is a phenomenon all into himself, and one of my absolute favorite guys in TNA, and he's been everywhere. But shout out to the heavy metal rebel, Frankie Kazarian. Went through, made it to the Final Four. Kaz is one of them guys that he absolutely falls into that category. He's been so good so long that you forget how good he is. But here he is, as a TNA star coming in and making a huge impression on NXT.
Yeah. I wish Kaz has gotten more attention from it, though. Like all the attention is going on Joe Hendry because he's so entertaining and he's so great, and I feel like not as much attention is going on Kaz.
We'll see. We're still new in this. We're still brand new in this, and as
dipping their toes, right? It's like he was the first one eliminated, but it was everybody because he talked all that shit before he came in, before he went in the ring, and then everyone ganged up on him like as if he was like Andre the Giant in there, and like they usually do the big guys. You know?
It took 24 other men,
like a bunch of little yellow jackets, and they threw his ass right over. But
Yeah, and for all those people that are complaining about the quick elimination, oh, they ruined my favorite guy. Okay, go
No.
back and watch the Shawn Michaels interaction backstage and tell me that
Mhm.
you don't think they have plans for Joe Hendry.
Hendry.
And then the tweet
it.
blows the fuck up. Like
Yeah.
they are gonna do something with Joe Hendry.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
Don't
I
worry.
think Shawn Michaels is going to
That
say
just
his
got him
name
over even
and
more.
There's
throw it
gotta
out
be
there
more.
again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Shawn
And
That
Michaels
just got
believes.
him over even
So-
more, man.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely. And I just have a quick PSA, and this will go to any of the old school TNA fans. And this is a story that I'm going to put out in the air, and it better happen or I'll be very disappointed. If we do not have a backstage segment at a Raw or SmackDown, especially a Raw, and have PCO walking around backstage yelling, "Abyss! Abyss!" over and over, like throughout the entire show, I will be very disappointed. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to
Okay,
put
the
that
other
out
thing
in
that
the air.
needs to happen, and John, I think you mentioned it the other day, maybe it was RA. We need to see Santino backstage in NXT.
Yes, with his daughter.
Oh, God.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my God.
Absolutely.
By the way,
that-
speaking of PCO, there's a little footage of him with Destro where he's holding 2 packs of playing cards in his mouth, and Destro he rips them. Destro's holding them and ripping the cards one way, and he's ripped them in half with his mouth.
Yes.
So he
Damn.
really is
He
not
is not
human.
human.
He's not human.
Yeah.
Well, that's so to your point, Mike. Like this relationship, this partnership is still very new. Like we saw the Royal Rumble, we saw the Jordan Grace stuff. Now we're seeing Kaz and Joe Hendry, and people are going, okay, what's next? Like there's definitely a long-term plan at play here.
Sure.
And from all accounts, from what Tommy said on the radio, like both sides are very happy. It's a win-win for everybody. It's been great as far as like the viewership's up on both products, which is great, you know, because we all sort of surmise like, how are they going to help WWE? Well, they are. So, you know, obviously they're Joe Hendry's popping a number on Twitter and their ratings are higher than they've been in over a year. So obviously that's working.
Right.
So I'm just going to be interested to see what happens down the road. So I'm here for all of it. It's really cool.
Oh yeah.
So my
We
weekly
need it.
PSA about TNA is if you don't get access, if you don't know where you can watch it, TNA Plus app, you can get it on your phone, you can get it on your Fire Stick, you can get it on your Roku, TNA Plus app. It's $10 a month, so it's same
Try
as
for a
most
month.
streaming services monthly. I signed up for the yearly plan that if you pay for the yearly plan, it includes all of their $10 Friday pay-per-views. They also have another yearly plan that includes all pay-per-views, including all the big four. So all inclusive, pay one price for the whole year if you want, or just do the monthly plan. Okay, PSA over. Watch him.
Agreed. All right. So the big story from last night, and I think Hijacker, you know a little bit about this guy. We saw the debut of Jacob Fatu on SmackDown.
Let's go.
Now, what's
yeah.
crazy to me is like I've seen some of his stuff, obviously in MLW and some of his other stuff, but like he leaned up. I was like, holy crap, look at this guy.
Oh yeah.
Like
man looking
he was
good.
TV ready
Yeah.
and brutal, and that splash off the top rope to Cody Rhodes
Oh,
to end like
insane.
I mean, so okay, so if you guys listen to the emergency pod, we listened to it. I think it was like 1 o'clock in the morning when Sam dropped it. We listened to the Jacob Fatu emergency pod, and he gave sort of the lineage and the history of the families and how that all ties together. So go back and listen. I'm not going to rehash it here, but it's really interesting. I was surprised to see Jacob Fatu from the perspective that Mark and other people have said that he's had some personal issues he just had to work through. He's been working hard and all this stuff, but that he would need time in NXT or would need time developing. But boy, they put him right in the main event of the biggest show of the week. So let me Hijack. Let me start with you. How were you feeling? Were you genuinely surprised to see him?
I knew he was gonna come out sometime, but I didn't know last night. I was at the A's game last night, and we're sitting there, and I was sitting with a buddy of mine that's a wrestling fan, and he was like, "Dude, did you see what just happened?" I was like, "No, what happened?" He was on YouTube or not YouTube, Twitter or something like that, and seen it, So I end up pulling out my phone and rewinding it, and we end up watching the whole segment. But what got me was something seemed weird because Solo did something you've never seen him do before, and that was cower backing down in the corner in the turnbuckle. I have never seen him do that ever.
Yep.
And something started to click. And as they were getting closer, Cody and Randy was getting closer, I'm like, something don't feel right. But then as soon as Randy turned around and got kicked, I was like, holy shit, there's the homie. He's finally at the big dance. He's finally on
trap.
WWE TV.
Yeah.
What's that?
It was a trap.
Yeah,
It's a trap.
it was a trap. And it made me feel good because, like, just like Monday night, I rewinded it a couple of times and watched it. Even when a ball freaking come and landed a couple of seats by me, not paying attention, I was watching that replay over and over again. But it just feels good to see Jacob up there and finally get his shine. And I forget the other two guys' names in the family, but did you see their faces coming up, looking at each other like, what the fuck is going on?
And Tom.
Yeah.
What's interesting, sorry, real quick, is we now have two Samoans and two
Tongans.
brothers, the two Tongans, like Tama Tonga and Tongaloa, and they were really slow to put up the ones. They looked very surprised, very shocked. So clearly, Solo didn't smarten them up to his arrival. So
right.
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'd be remiss if we didn't go back to Paul Heyman, what he was saying earlier. So when we talk about that, just remind me, because goddamn, he's so friggin' great, and
yeah,
I just love him. But he popped me for the week. What he said with CM Punk. So when we go talking about that,
well, we're talking about it now.
Yeah,
okay. I talk about Paul Heyman.
Paul
Heyman. You can talk about Paul Heyman all day, all night. You guys are amazing. Oh, sorry, real quick. Shout out to RJ, our buddy RJ, who from the Reffing Up podcast. He's watching, tweeting live. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you.
Nice.
So speaking of Reffing It Up, they just had their last episode with Downstate. Highly recommend it.
Yes.
We love Downstate. I know in the early days of our show, we had what's his name? Darren?
Zach. Well, Darren, Zach. Yeah.
Zach. Yeah. We had him on our show in the early days of our show. I've been a big fan of Downstate for a while, and it was a good interview.
Yeah, and I still talk with Darren from time to time by Twitter because we follow baseball, and he was with me on this Oakland deal and stuff when we were dealing with them. So really good dudes from that group, really good.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. So back to Paul Heyman. I just watched the clip earlier, right before we came on, about from Jacob Fatu's debut, and then the segment previously when Heyman was talking to Solo backstage. And so the look in Heyman's eye when Solo said, "I hate to be the one to break it to you, but Roman ain't coming back." The look in Heyman's eye, like he instantly teared up, and he was like, what do you mean?
Amazing.
Just absolutely incredible. And like, we know that Paul Heyman is one of the most talented people on wrestling television, and he's not even a wrestler. He continues to amaze me.
Yes.
Yeah.
He looked like he had lost a loved one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Paul Heyman has easily been the MVP for this group so far. He is high-end MVP, in my opinion.
And we don't even know who he's advising outside of the bloodline. Like, I mean, he's just a wealth of knowledge that he just keeps giving. We don't know who he's helping back there.
Right.
But anyone who touches the bloodline story is getting the rub from Paul Heyman, because that's what I think, because he's just pure magic. And 4 words the other night.
Take me with you.
Take me with you.
Please take me.
My God, take me with you.
Yeah.
What we're in the middle of seeing is, and even through his Hall of Fame induction speech, we're looking at a man who's truly a master at his craft, writing his masterpiece, his master thesis, and he still has plenty left to go before he's finished with it. But to say, not to say that the individual wrestlers and stuff have not absolutely bought in and brought his thoughts and everything, but if you think for a second that this is not 100% Paul Heyman making all this happen and made all this happen, you're sadly mistaken. Nobody, not Triple H, not anybody in WWE is going, hey, Paul, maybe we should. No, they're just like, just do whatever you want to do, sir.
He deserves to have the Hall of Fame rings on his. He needs as many fingers with rings like Yogi Berra had World Series rings. That's what he needs. That's what he deserves.
And I tell people all the time, if any of the young wrestlers, if you want to learn how to get over on the mic, learn how to get over in the ring or anything like that, watch Paul Heyman. The man absolutely engages you without even saying the word. The facial expressions, the reactions, the general, you're looking at him last night with Solo, and you're like, my God, this poor old Jewish man is gonna die.
Dude, he got over it. Not even in wrestling. He got over in a fucking courtroom with the jury. He got New Jack.
Got him off of attempted murder charges.
The jury.
Yeah.
His father was a very prominent personal injury litigator, and evidently the apple did not fall far from the tree.
Here's the beauty of Paul Heyman. So, like, we go back to the start of the CM Punk segment, right? Of course, CM Punk comes out, cuts his promo. Paul Heyman comes out. Paul Heyman gets into the ring, and they have a very, very real personal moment. Yes. Where it carries on for longer than you, and they're having an exchange very quietly with their. So all of a sudden you feel like, okay, this isn't character stuff. Like, this is Paul Heyman and CM Punk friends who are sort of reconnecting on screen, having a moment, which lends credibility to everything that came after that.
Yes,
everything that he said to CM Punk, everything that he said as a warning. I'm in that space now where this isn't Paul Heyman, the character on TV. This is Paul Heyman and Phil Brooks having a conversation about, dude, you need to leave. Like, I'm your friend. You have to leave. And I'm going, all right, like, bad shit's gonna happen. Like, I really, it's just the way in which everything's set up, the way that he has a mastery of every scene and every moment of every scene.
Front row, to your point,
and that shit happened.
To your point, he's bridging the kayfabe with the reality of life, because let's face it, everyone is smart now, but we're not.
Right. It's the new kayfabe, and there were very key points that made it feel real. Absolutely. CM Punk sat next to Paul Heyman's son and daughter in front of his Hall of Fame induction, and if you haven't heard his speech, and I can't imagine anybody hasn't by now, he talks very poignantly about CM Punk throughout his entire speech. So, and that, here we are now. That was, one part of it, but here he is bringing that all in. There is history, CM Punk is, quote unquote, the original Paul Heyman guy. So, to see this and this exchange with them, and absolutely, you're right, front row. This was not, CM Punk with, ladies and gentlemen, my name is, no, this was Paul Heyman, Paul, no middle name Heyman, talking to Phil Brooks, saying, dude, you are in trouble. This is not good. Bad shit is about to happen. I can't control it. Nobody can, and I am afraid for one of my best friend's life. I am physically afraid of you. Look at me. I am sweating because, I'm sorry, Paul Heyman, line of the night. I had to come out here because it's hot as balls, and it is, especially here in the Northeast. It is hot as balls here, and CM Punk, again, with the familiarity between the two, had an incredible line. He says, only Paul Heyman could come out and hijack my promo. And it's absolutely true. But again, you had definite feeling that this wasn't just character. This wasn't just story. That's like, dude, listen, I'm your friend, and you just go get away from it. I don't know if I'm and take me with you because you're my only way to. I'm going to survive because I'm going to be part of a Samoan barbecue ritual festival and probably have an apple in my mouth and a stick up my ass over a fire.
Well, then on the other hand, it wasn't the Samoans or the Wyatt Six that got him. It was Drew that got him. Paul Heyman said, "Bad shit's gonna happen. You better get your ass out of here." And this is actually what happened.
He was right.
It was. It was. And if we're gonna segue into that real quick, my comment, that was absolutely brilliant.
Perfect swerve.
Absolutely brilliant. And I cannot and even Bully talked about it on Busted Open earlier in the week on Monday or on Tuesday after Raw was on and commenting on that. He said if they're going to go with this, that Drew quit and everything, you just have Drew show up anywhere and everywhere with no other intention except beating the living hell out of CM Punk, which we saw.
One of the things that's so awesome about that is that they've really been playing with the one shot. So you get the garage door open up, you get the silhouette of this enormous human, and then as the light adjusts, you see it's Drew, and then he picks up Punk. I know that they talked about on the show that they wanted to see the beatdown. I like the way they did it because I like walking into a crime scene. I like walking into that, like he's done. And the one shot all the way from the loading dock through the outside area, through the backstage, through the gorilla, all the way to and he's, I thought he was going to carry Punk into the ring. He gets halfway, dumps him like a ton of shit.
Yes. Just far enough down the ramp so everybody in attendance, the live audience, can absolutely see it, even though they've been watching.
It wasn't a wrestling move. He literally shrugged him off like a coat. He just tossed the coat aside.
So I think it was more cinematic that way. And I had posted on my Facebook when I shared the clip of the Wyatt Six debut, but this also applies in this instance as well with Drew and Punk. The cinematic element of everything. I shared it on my Facebook to kind of, share things to people who don't watch wrestling. And, I said it's one of the examples as to why WWE really should be considered for the Emmys these days. They are making movies. Like it's an old kind of joke of Vince McMahon of we're making movies, but they really are right now, especially more than ever. And just the scenes that they produce, it's absolutely incredible. And the storytelling aspect that is happening on live television in front of a live audience where so many things could go wrong. There's no second take. There's no cut. It was done very, very.
We're live, pal.
Very, very well done.
Well, and we always talk about this. We always go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying. When's the last time we had 3 quality shows from WWE all in the same week?
It's happening more often than in recent years.
It's becoming more the norm than the exception. But you're absolutely right, though, Mike.
But those were big shows. Like each one had big moments, like trending moments.
Yeah. Oh
yeah. You're right. So
I
Deb,
definitely think that.
Sorry, real quick.
Go ahead.
So you were talking about the storytelling, and the storytelling, they carry it through their whole lives. They carry it through the airports. They carry it to social media. And I don't know if anybody saw this, but Karrion Kross tweeted after the debut of Jacob Fatu. He said, "I've been fighting with Jacob Fatu for over 10 years, all over the continent from east to west. Trust me when I say this, SmackDown is in deep shit." Like that's from Karrion Kross. So I'm like,
damn.
He's Karrion Kross is co-signing the badassery that is Jacob Fatu. Damn. I love that.
Yeah.
They didn't even get a taste. That was just a little wetting their whistle. Yeah. It was nothing. That was a sip of what you're gonna get from this guy. I mean, once they see him doing some of these moves that he does for a guy his size, I feel sorry for a lot of people there because They're gonna be
and
hurt.
It's funny. When I met Jacob about 11 years ago, when he was on Rikishi's Knox Pro, they came out here, and a buddy of mine said, "Hey, let's go to the show." And I was like, "Okay, cool." How I became friends with Jacob is he tried recruiting me into wrestling. He come up, "Hey, Oos, why don't you get into wrestling? Come work with us, Oos. We'll get you going." I'm like, "Bro, I wish I could, but 18 years of football has turned my back into a pretzel. And if I get in the ring and start banging around, I don't think I'm going to be able to walk straight again." So we created a friendship. I kept in contact with him. We brought him in through Kirk White's BTW. And we had him in earlier this year, and we had that conversation. I said, "Man, I think you're going to make it to the big time sometime this year." And he's like, "You think so, Oos?" I said, "I know so." And look at it now. There it is.
Don't get
That's
There you go.
it's super cool. Neil and I talked to him. Obviously, we only talked to him at a meet and greet, but Neil and I ran into him at WrestleCade in November, and Neil had a longer conversation with him than I did, but he was so excited. He was clearly something was up because he was like, "Man, I'm just so excited for the future. Next year is going to be a big year." And obviously he was right. So
he wouldn't mind.
Yeah,
he saw what was going on TV and knew he was going to get involved.
Yeah.
What I also was very not that I found the humors were just interesting was, again, here was this person, and all of us, we were like, "Yes, it's a Samoan werewolf. It's Jacob Fatu. This is going to be good." And then there are people like, who is that? Then once again, I am reminding you all, Google it, bitches. We're not here to educate you. If you
Honestly, I really didn't. I mean, I limit my social media contact these days, but I didn't really see a ton of people who were saying that. Maybe it's just, I don't interact with the people who didn't know who he is. But I mean, most of my feed was incredibly excited. I didn't really see anybody saying, "Oh, I don't know who that is."
I think the benefit, Deb, is this because, like, from what we've heard, he got signed a while ago, and they were just figuring out where he was going to get slotted into the story, right? And like we always say, whether you get hired on or you get called up, like, no matter how good and ready you are for the moment, if the story doesn't line up, then it's a failure. So you really have to wait for that right moment. This was the right moment. So I think that he had been rumored for so long at this point. Everybody had heard the name. Like, everyone's like, maybe 4 months ago, people were like, "Who's Jacob Fatu?" And as WrestleMania rolled around, people were like, "Oh, he's definitely going to debut there. He's definitely going to debut at the Raw after Mania." Well, that didn't happen, but we had an extra 2 months of PR for the guy, I think.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I love the meat. When the meat is good, the meat is good.
Thanks, Denise.
Thank you, Denise. That was nice
That
of you
was
to
a
chime in.
a drive-by. Sorry.
God, I can't.
We don't own the copyright to her voice.
So real quick, speaking on that subject, for anyone who listened to Busted Open this morning, you got a little glimpse of the producing genius that is Andre. Just next level.
Andre's the best. He spent pull the curtain back. He spent like an hour Friday morning trying to find the "tickle my pickle" quote or drop from her.
Yes.
The man's awesome. He was yesterday and today. That dude was on point with the audio drops. Holy shit!
Oh my
It's
God.
so funny. He made Mark howl. Mark was
He
laughing
keeps
so
his powder
hard.
dry. He keeps his powder dry. He knows when he has a good clip. You gotta wait for it.
Yes.
He has us all sitting on Spilkus waiting for him to play those clips.
Yes.
Denise said something on the show this morning, and Mark said, "I need that as a clip." And within a minute or two, Andre was already playing it as a clip. And Mark was like, "How the hell did you get that so fast?"
Shout out to
That's
the producing
Andre.
giant.
Yeah.
And by the way, who doesn't like I don't like moist food. What?
Oh no,
Food
she
that
said
drips.
food that drips. Food that drips.
Oh, food that drips.
Because Mark was describing a Chicago Italian beef sandwich to her, and
Right.
then after his description, she paused and said, "I don't like food that drips."
And Andre's like, mark that.
Or- yes. Shout
So
out
good.
to the Valley.
Yeah.
You Californian people.
Well,
Uh,
there's like 114 more things to talk about, but we're almost out of time.
Yeah.
Next weekend is Forbidden Door. We're going to do a whole show on that next weekend. There's that's shaping up to be a killer show. And
Yeah.
you know, I know there's detractors for AEW, but they've been telling better stories lately. The matches have been cohesive, and
So
the
real quick-
pay-per-views always deliver.
So Collision is about to start in a few minutes. I was at this Collision, which was taped the other night, Thursday night, here in Allentown. It's so nice living 15 minutes from an arena. And this is their first time in Allentown. So it's, you know, I think I heard it on the local news that this was the first time that a televised wrestling event has been in Allentown in 40 years.
well, that kind of tracks because they just got indoor plumbing there about 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, shut up. Well, WWE does house shows at the PPL Center here, where Collision just was, the hockey arena. So WWE does house shows here, and prior to the hockey arena being built,
John,
they did
that's
shows at
awfully
Stabler Arena, which is a venue at Lehigh University here in Bethlehem. It was pretty cool because Allentown is, you know, Allentown has a lot of rich wrestling history. There's a ton of wrestling history in Allentown, specifically with the Anawai family. And it was just so cool to hear that first televised event in 40 years. So you'll see that Rampage coming on just shortly, or Collision, sorry, and then next week's Rampage. It was a good show, great matches. I'm looking forward to hearing the reaction from some of you on a few certain things that happened, and getting the commentary. I'm looking forward to getting the commentary on everything.
Sweet. And our friend Lady Frost is on the show. I saw the graphic, so I'm looking forward to that match. Yep.
Yes, she was there.
Cool.
Was
Nice. Awesome. Well, it is time for wrestling, folks. Let's give everybody some time to go get some snacks. That's wrestling.
RSSLIN spells wrestling.
Thank you, Justin LeBar and Hood for bringing that song to us.
That was Jay Hood. Jay Hood brought it.
Jay Hood.
Yep.
All's good in the hood.
Agreed. Mike, Mongrovian Mike, where can people find you?
I'm Mongrovian Mike. Just look for me. I'm everywhere. Listen for me. I call in and I make really awful calls. So,
are we a grandpa yet?
Not yet. I'm waiting.
I got money on this.
Come on.
That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for it. Let's go.
I got
We got to get a pool going on here.
I got money on this.
We got an emergency podcast in the works.
Yes.
I know.
I'm waiting for the smoke, like when they announced the Pope for coming out of Castle Monrovia.
I'm just waiting for her to call and say I popped.
Okay.
There we go. Okay.
Nice. Hijacker, how about you?
You guys, you can catch me at Hijacker Mike on Instagram. You can catch me at Mr. Mac on Twitter. You can catch me in the middle of Oakland fighting for the A's at the Coliseum, or you can catch me at Ramundi Park with the Oakland Ballers. Also, for all you cigar fanatics out there, I have my Smoke in the Bay cigar review channel on YouTube. Rumble,
highly recommend.
TikTok. Hit me up, follow me, let me know what you think if you're a cigar fan. If not, pass it on to someone else that is. That's where I am.
Sweet. Johnny?
Of course, you can always find me on the Twitter and Instagram, as it says there on the screen, at Twisted Metal Fab. And as always, thank you, Deb. Hashtag Nation's Corner on location. Have a couple interviews in the works, and one that I am in process of working on now that will be released soon. And of course, if you're out and about at the shows like Deb was in Allentown and graciously threw up the Nation's Corner on location hashtag for, let us know where you're at, who you're seeing, who you're liking. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it has arrived. The most dangerous weapon in all of professional wrestling is now even more dangerous. That's right. AK9K version 3.0 has arrived, and you can follow all of its exploits on the Instagram at AssKicker9K. And also, for anyone who's interested, as you can see, it is right now very naked. There's only a few stickers on there. And that means that there is space for yours. Hit
Get
me
your
or
real
ever-
estate now.
Yes, before it becomes at premium prices.
Save me a spot, bro. I'm gonna send you a smoke in the base sticker when I get them cut
I
up.
will put it up front
Oh,
proudly
yeah.
so the world can see, hijacker. I got your spot reserved for you, brother. I got you. But other than that, that's it. Enjoy wrestling, folks. That's what we're all here for.
Yep. Deb?
And that's So Debonair, the Twitter machine, and the Instagram. And I don't know. Just just watch some wrestling. Have fun. Happy wrestling.
Agreed. Well, and happy Pride Month. I'm wearing my old school NWA Pride shirt that we got back in the day. As a proud ally, I'm really excited about where the wrestling world is right now with the fans and the wrestlers alike. So keep being positive, folks. We love
Yes.
it. You can find me at PW Front Row on all the socials. You can find us at Nation's Corner on Twitter and at The Nation's Corner on all the other socials. It is going to be a crazy week. Pay attention to everything. We'll talk about it all next week. We have some surprises coming up in the next couple of weeks. I think next week we might even have some special hosts. So stay tuned to the socials and we'll give you some updates. Later, folks. Have a great week.
Peace.